Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're going to watch the sequel to It's Alive. It's Alive 2, otherwise known as It Lives Again. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with a house party. This woman's having a baby. That's Mrs. Scott. Notice in the background there's John P. Ryan, who plays Frank Davis from the previous film. Frank wasn't invited to the party.
It's very embarrassing, but I don't think I know you.
Well, I just flew in from Los Angeles. I'm sorry, my name is Frank Davis.
It's making me kind of nervous.
I don't know if you're aware that doctors all over the country have been contacted by the federal government and asked to report what they consider to be cases of abnormal pregnancy. If you read about me, then you heard about what happened to the baby born in Seattle.
Yes, I do remember. That one was killed, wasn't it?
Yes.
He's there to warn them.
Birth.
You ever done this before? Going to other people?
Yes, there was a woman in Evanston, Illinois, but I learned too late. The team had already arrived. They were prepared. Right in the delivery room, they snuffed out its life.
He's trying to help them deliver their baby before the government can kill it.
That's right. We have a lot of people who are sympathetic to us here.
Setting up facilities to deliver the baby outside the hospital.
Well, before long, Jody goes into labor. And Jean's taking her to the hospital. They're being watched. And as soon as they arrive, they're immediately met by officials who separate them.
Who told you that?
Jane, help me!
Somebody informed me before she arrived. You call it a case of temporary.
Well, then Frank arrives.
Now tell them to bring the husband up here to see his wife. Come on.
And he's trying to get her out of there so they can deliver it elsewhere.
You're committing suicide. It'll kill all of you.
They're able to escape, and he takes Dr. Mallory with him. With the help of some special doctors, some special people who are trying to
We delivered a live male child.
protect them.
Dr. De Silva is injured. He's in a state of shock, but I think he'll be all right.
I thought I'd never sleep again. We get it.
Back to Los Angeles, where it all began.
Turns out there's 3 babies.
They know you were afraid of them.
No kidding. They're not the only ones who know it. Or do I know it?
Fear seems to threaten them.
And the eclipse our own. They're the next step forward in evolution. A way in which the human race can survive the pollutions of this planet.
Jean and Jody have been separated. Jean's been with the baby. They're going to try to bring Jody there to visit now.
We've made arrangements for you to see the baby.
If it gets outside the house into the brush, we don't stand a chance. It's got to be killed inside the house.
And we're going to get a look at the little whippersnappers. Poor Jean's also going to get attacked. And attacking a pool.
There's 2. You're mine, aren't you? I can see it. Don't you know who I am?
Scared you, huh? Sure did. That Scott baby was a boy, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, this one's a female.
Stay here. Stay here. There's more than one. I need a goddamn transmitter. There's two more running around loose.
You got one of them.
Please turn it off.
Frank is with the last baby now. And unfortunately for him, he's about to die. So the last baby's on the loose, and they figure it's going to try to get back to the parents here. So they set up Gene and Jody in a house.
All we can do is watch for any fresh kills and wait.
And sure enough, baby arrives.
Please forgive me.
Well, they can't kill it, and next thing you know, they're nurturing parents.
He's sleeping. I must not slept for a long time.
Well, the officials are trying to gas the house.
30 seconds. Gonna start pumping gas into this house.
The baby then attacks Dr. Mallory. In order to save Dr. Mallory, Gene makes a tough decision with the help of Jody. They shoot the baby. The last scene in the movie, Gene is now warning other couples.
No, I'm Eugene Scott. We've never met before. But, we have to talk. It's about you and your wife. Yeah, the new baby.
All right, let's talk about It's Alive 2. It Lives Again. This is a movie, man, I hadn't seen this movie in a long, long time. I think I may have only seen this once ever, maybe twice. Rented this from a place called Denny's Video in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. They had It's Alive and It's Alive 2. I believe that's where I got them from. Copied them, and there you go. It was a beta tape back in 1987, maybe? I don't know, a long time ago. But anyway, it basically picks up where It's Alive left. Frank, who was the father in the first movie, shows up at this, I guess it's a baby shower for some woman in San Francisco. He lives in LA. He just shows up at the party and comes right in and sits down. And then when everybody leaves, he's left, and both of the couple are like, who the hell's that guy? Well, he introduces himself, and they eventually recognize him as, you know, the guy who was the father of that monster baby back in LA, you know, a year earlier, whatever it was. He's basically there to warn them. She's pregnant, and I don't know how exactly he knows, but somehow he knows that she's got a big baby inside, and it's probably one of these monster babies that are starting to spread out all over the U.S. Well, turns out the government wants to kill all these babies before they live. You know, basically when they're born, they want to kill them right away. So he's come to warn them. He wants them to be able to have their baby safely in some other controlled environment where the baby won't kill everybody. So the government is watching them, and then the night she goes into labor, they go to the hospital. Frank shows up with a gun and forces the doctor to release Jody, I think was her name, to him. And they manage to escape, even though there's cops and everything around. They manage to escape, and they drop her off with another doctor, and they give birth inside a van somewhere. And then they take him to some location, some secure location where there's a couple of other of these monster babies there too. Eventually, Jean, her husband, is reunited with her. The cops are always on the prowl, though, to find them. And eventually they do catch up with this place. There's 3 babies there. They manage to kill 2 of them. Frank gets killed at one point by the last remaining baby, who is the child of Jean and Jody here. And then Frank gets killed by that baby and runs off. The cops decide to, I don't know if it's the cops, the government, or whatever the hell they are. They decide to set up Jean and Jody in a house, assuming that the baby is eventually going to find its way back home and get to them, and then I guess they can kill it, I guess. Somehow Jean and Jody are okay with this, so they do that. Of course, the baby does show up, and the next thing you know, just Dr. Mallory's there, the government is there, they're going to gas the whole house, and then Jean and Jody have some suddenly they want to raise the baby, so they're being nice to the baby and that's feeding it, that sort of thing. Well, all hell breaks loose. Dr. Mallory's in the house, and the baby attacks Dr. Mallory. And then Jean and Jody decide they got to kill the baby in order to save Dr. Mallory. I'm surprised they did that, actually, because Dr. Mallory was kind of a bad guy. It was their own baby, but they do shoot the baby. The baby's dead. Presumably, Dr. Mallory lives. The last scene in the movie is Jean playing the role of Frank. He's now walking through the streets of San Francisco, confronting other couples who are about to have a baby to warn them, and the cycle continues. So there you go. That's It Lives Again. I had a good time watching this movie. I enjoyed it. I don't think this was rated R. Maybe it says R on the back here, but there certainly wasn't anything in it to be overly nasty, at least not by today's standards. There's no nudity, a little bit of violence, not much. We don't get a lot of great glimpses of these monster babies with the big fangs, but when we see them, they're kind of cool looking. So there you go. They probably didn't want to show them too much because the effects weren't the greatest in the world. So be it. I get it. But again, I enjoyed this movie. So what can you do? Anyway, you ain't got much more to say about it, but I will leave a link to a Blu-ray down below if you're looking for this. I believe all three of these, Island of the Alive is the third one. I think maybe I'll watch that one next week. I believe all three of these were released in a Blu-ray set. I always meant to get it. I just never got around to it. So now I'm finally watching my DVDs, which I've never watched this either. I've had this in my collection for probably 20 years, just never watched it. But again, I watched the original movie on VHS years and years ago. But anyway, that's it. It Lives Again. I'll leave a link to Blu-ray. Buy it if you'd like it, and leave some comments so we know what you think about it. Watch it. Bye.